Michael? Oh, he said give him just 1 second. And so, John, welcome to the show.
Hi there.
Michael will be with us here in just a second. No,
Mute
I can't
challenge.
hear you, Michael.
Here we go.
There you go. Here he is.
Yay.
Hello.
Welcome, young man.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm okay, thanks. How are you guys?
Okay.
I'm not
good.
feeling very well, but such is life.
Well, we're holding the space.
Thanks.
I appreciated that conversation yesterday, and I'm delighted that you picked up and you went back to watch the Sarno movie, All the Rage. How did it speak to you when you watched it yesterday?
Well, it was.
Did it say anything new to you?
No, I'd watched it before, and of course I read the book Healing Back Pain long ago. But it was kind of fun to be reminded of what he went through, and it was so kind of actually painful to see that none of the doctors referred to him. It's amazing.
Yes.
They just really amazing that they, that's how they are.
It is quite.
And his wife or his daughter saying that they, I guess his wife was saying that he, she got lots of accolades because she was in a different kind of a profession as a
Field,
specialty, right? where she was lifted up and people really liked her, and she created more opportunities for other people. And his work, Sarno's work, really hits the orthopedists and the body, the chiropractors and the body workers, and doesn't help their practices at all.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And when people are hooked into treatment and believe that treatment means healing, where treatment is just treatment, and then there's healing, where Sarno was into healing, those who are hooked on treatment, generally speaking, aren't very interested. And that's unfortunately the medical profession by and large today, although there are many, many physicians opening up, many that we've interacted with. And in fact, back a few years ago, I was working with the dean of medical school in Florida. And when, after several, conversations and doing some still point breathing work with him, I offered the thought, what would it be like if medical school were a loving, caring, gentle place where people came to be healed and become healers? And he was like, what a radical idea that is. And a year later, he actually quit as dean of the medical school in I think it was in Gainesville, University of Gainesville, and ended up. I'm not remembering his name at this moment. This goes back about 20 years ago. But he quit as dean of the medical school and went into bringing alternative medicine into a variety of medical schools. So changed his life quite a bit. One of the other suggestions
there, I had seen it before. A doctor who I worked with in Detroit for a while, Dr. Schubiner, Schubiner, was on the show, and I had missed him the first time, or maybe I saw him as a result of watching that the first time. I went to see him 4 or 5 times.
Right. Well, I'll just say from a medical perspective, you're right down there near the Upledger Institute.
Yeah.
And his specialty, when I studied craniosacral work, John Upledger was my teacher in that arena. And he really originated the whole field of craniosacral work, and his institute is, I don't know, probably within 15 to 20 miles of you there. I would strongly suggest you go and consult with them. The Upledger Institute, I think they're in Palm Beach Gardens. So I remember the town just north of Palm Beach.
Yes.
But I'd strongly suggest that a consult with them with what's going on for you would be really worthwhile.
I have sought information on anybody who has this, who has had craniosacral. I'm just not finding anybody. It's not very apparently widespread as a treatment modality with it. Not well known.
It's a fairly rare disorder, and very much like Sarno's work, the people who are specializing in that kind of a disorder are not likely to bring in somebody like Sarno or Upledger that move in the direction of healing as opposed to treatment. So, but anyway, I'd suggest that would be a place to go. And then we're just, getting into step 2 in the worksheet. And so, any other thoughts before we move forward?
No.
Okay. So
I will look at
2A.
I will look at that Upledger idea.
Definitely worthwhile. Basically, what Upledger's work is about, the cerebrospinal fluid is contained from the base of the spine up through into the brain, and actually in developmental phases in utero, there's a point where the jawbone actually sits right on the base of the sacrum, and then as development occurs, that they open up and separate. So they're literally resonating energetic structures. And what happens, and that's why they talk about cranial sacral work, because they're one system. And one of the things that the hands-on work from the Upledger Institute and the cranial sacral work is about getting the flexibility back into that system and removing trauma from it. And I think that that would be a real adjunct to the forgiveness work that you're doing and everything else that you're doing to get healing moving in your structure. So step 2, if we're still on the live worksheet, the current 7th step on the website, and we'll actually do a slight edit on this. Jeannie, if you'd make a note in step 2, it speaks of, yes, I choose to love truth. And for a long time, I used the word love very much the way the culture uses the word love, like I love you, you love me, that sort of thing. And then I realized that was a total misuse of the word. And in our printed worksheet now, that word love has been changed to honor. I choose to honor truth, because love is a word that describes the state of being that we are. And what we're looking to do with this whole body of work is return to awareness of ourselves as that state of being, and have that state of being fully incarnated in this body-mind unit, so that it is fueled. Every cell is fueled by the presence of love. And so speaking about loving this or loving that or loving someone is really off base in terms of truth. And so I choose to honor truth and willingly face and process out all disease-producing energies from all my relations or generations. And if you go back into the story where the Jews get lost in the desert for 40 years, supposedly, and you look at that story, and when you think about this pretty obviously bright group of people who are quite well acquainted with astronomy, getting lost in a 35 square mile area doesn't sound like a very likely thing to have happened, especially being stuck there for 40 years. They knew where the sun came up and how they could follow it, and a couple of days you'd be out of that desert space. But
Yeah.
That word desert in the Aramaic is referring to the unconscious. It's talking about people functioning unconsciously and just being driven by the generational patterns within them. And you'll remember that the alternative to being lost in the desert was the promised land. And if you read those passages, you hear that the solution, getting out of the desert into the promised land, literally what they said was the old generation had to die off. And that didn't mean that everybody in old physical bodies had to physically die. The root of the word generation is genari, which means cause. All of the causes held in the structure have to be removed. And that's what forgiveness is removing those causes. And so this particular step ties right in. The Native Americans, when they went into a sweat lodge or healing ceremony, you've probably heard the phrase before, they'll use the phrase mitakuyasin, which means for all my relations. They knew they weren't just doing the work of healing for themselves, but there were generational links that needed to be healed. And so this particular step is about recognizing that I'm willing to look at what's really true, although my mind tells me that I'm angry, sad, afraid about something out there. The truth is I'm angry, sad, afraid, or whatever it is, because angry, sad, or afraid is in me. And it's been placed there. You know, I came by it honestly. I had a lot of generations that didn't know any better than to engage in it. So this is just an acknowledgement, a statement's about an acknowledgement of, I'm willing to look at every disease-producing energy from all of my generations, from all of my life, everything that is out of harmony with love. So if that makes sense, then we'll move on to step 2B. So that'd be the first one is, yeah, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to face whatever's there. Does that work for you? Are you ready to go for whatever generational patterns need to be faced and dealt with? Awesome. Okay.
Are we on E? We're on E.
We're on 2A.
2A. Okay, good.
2A.
Yeah.
I choose to honor truth and willingly face and process out all disease-producing energies from all of my relations or generations. Okay. And then 2B is I'm willing to go through the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of healing. Pardon me, when you realize that this body-mind unit is an energy system, and when you recognize that if you take an energy into the system, it expresses as a symptom. And if we live a life of suppression, if we live a life where we use, things like junk food or anger or alcohol or drugs or whatever in order to suppress or hide, to lock down those energetic patterns, then it's logical that if we're going to heal, then those energetic patterns are going to have to be worked through. They're stored within our structure, and the presence of a disintegrative energy in the cell means the cell is in a process of dysfunction or disease. If I'm going to alleviate the disease from the cell, I'm going to have to remove the energy that's interfering with its proper function. And my thesis is that once those energetic patterns are removed, the cell knows exactly how to replicate itself, regenerate itself perfectly. You don't have a cell in your body, depending whose numbers you take, older than a year. Every cell in your structure is renewed at least on an annual basis. And so if we are renewing a cell out of a diseased state, then the next generation of cells is as diseased as the last generation. But when I can pull the interfering energy we spoke about yesterday, the neuropeptides that land in the cell and show up as chemistry, if I can pull those dis-ease energies, those energetic patterns that cause disease in the cell out of the cell, then the cell has a perfect picture of how it's supposed to build the next generation of cells. So it requires dealing with those energetic patterns, and so this is an acknowledgement of that, and that I'm willing to go through whatever it takes. What are the energies that went into the system that created this disease process, and am I willing to face and process it out? And basically those energetic patterns move on 3 levels: physically, mentally, and emotionally. So on a physical level, what healing looks like is any kind of symptom you've ever had and low energy. When the structure is cleaning out energetic patterns that don't belong, that takes a lot of energy. And so one of the base signals of healing is, the body's going to have to lay down. It's going to, it's like the energy just drops out of the system. It's like, God, I can hardly move. I can hardly get up. Well, if you're doing your work, that's one of the stages of healing. So we want people to be aware of that. So I'm going to go through the physical. On a mental level, healing looks like any kind of negative thought you've ever had and confusion. As those energetic patterns start to move, the energies that come up that conflict with the state of being that we are and the truth tend to create massive amounts of confusion. So on a mental level, healing looks like any kind of negative thought and confusion. And then on an emotional level, looks like any kind of negative feeling and depression. That's all part of the healing process. Healing isn't Dr. Feelgood, and the reason a lot of people don't want to face and do the healing process is because, I've got a fifth of scotch that I go through every 4 days, and with my fifth of scotch, I'm feeling no pain. I don't have to deal with any of this stuff. Or at least that's what people think. But, if one uses their rage or their fifth of scotch or whatever it is to keep the pain down, then it's not that they're not having to deal with it, they're just dealing with it unconsciously, and they deal with it as degeneration. When I lock an energy that's of a disintegrative nature into a cell, then that cell begins to degenerate. So what we're not willing to face physically, mentally, and emotionally ends up becoming the long-term degenerative energies that most people call aging, and aging really doesn't have anything to do with time. It's got to do with the energetic patterns that we hold on to. So this would be the willingness to go through the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of healing.
Uh-huh.
Does that work for you? Willing to face whatever comes up?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And some of it can be pretty tough, can be pretty intense. And then there are a set of definitions, which I don't think we need to cover at this point if we just scroll past those definitions.
It takes us down to the bottom of the page.
I hit that next button. Gina, are you following along with us here?
No, I wasn't, but it acts differently on the phone, I guess, than it does on the computer.
Oh, because when I hit the next button, it just
the next button
disappears.
The red square thing, right?
Well, there's a button that just says next on it.
Oh, it takes you back up to the top?
If you click next and then you roll back up a little bit, and it's got the premise. Let's see.
There's next. Okay. All right. The definite next takes me up to reality management, wake up sheet, change your mind, forgiveness.
Okay, I don't know why it's not coming up. Unless it's because I'm not filling in the blanks, maybe. Let me see.
Because I've got it on my phone here, and I do 2A and 2B, and then there are the definitions, and it doesn't give me the rest of the worksheet. Little glitch here technically. Let's take a minute. I hit the next button. It just takes me to the bottom of the page.
Mm. Oh, Susan said she knows how to get around this. Okay, so let me turn her microphone on here. Go for it,
Hey.
Susan, tell us.
Hi. I tap at the top of the page as if I'm starting a page again. I just tap in a blank space, and usually the little keyboard disappears and you can go ahead. This is on the iPhone.
Okay. You're doing the actual app one, though. He's doing the one on the website. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'll have to, no, you're good. I'll have to get a hold of India, because they're the ones who did this. So.
I feel for you. All right. Well, put me off.
Get
back
thank
to Michael.
you.
Thank you, Susan.
Or, no, it's not Michael. It's John. Yeah. Good going, John. Hang in there. This is not easy, but good.
I'm just going through and filling in the blanks to see if it will carry me through
I
there.
just did the same thing, and it doesn't carry me through, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
So we've got a problem with it.
And I can't fix it right now because, that, like I said, India is the one that did
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
And,
Yep. Okay.
So the best bet's to go back over to Why again and just look at the online sheet. The click on Start Here, and then the Reality Management Wake Up Sheet, and the current 7-step.
So my apologies, John, if we can go to whyagain.org. And then up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a button that says Start Here.
Oh,
There's a glitch on the website. I don't know what to do about that. So if we just go to the home page.
whyagain.org. Okay. All right. Now what?
And then the upper left-hand corner says Start Here.
Okay. All right.
And then go down to where it says Stress Reality Management Wake Up Sheets, and then click on the very first one says 7-step Reality Wake Up Sheet, and it'll pop it up on your screen, and you can also download a PDF from there.
A little slower, please. Okay, now.
So when you click on Start Here, then scroll down.
I just clicked. Now what?
And then scroll down to where it says Stress Reality Management Wake Up Sheets.
Stretch.
Stress.
As in, I'm under stress. So just a couple links down.
Stress.
Yeah. Stress/reality management, and there's a plus sign.
So when you click that, it'll take you to, we have several versions of the reality management sheet. That's why they have a separate page all on their own. But the very first one says Wake Up Sheet 7-step, and that's the newest one.
I'm looking.
So if you hit that plus sign under Stress Reality Management Wake Up Sheets, many versions, then it says various stress reality.
Okay, hit the plus sign there. All right, I found it.
Hit the plus sign.
Okay.
And then the first paragraph below says various stress reality sheets. Hit that.
Oh shit! My sheet just passed out on me. Come on. Oh.
Okay, just take a breath. Stay connected.
It won't, the website is not allowing me to do anything. Let me start over again.
And go back then. Yeah, that'd probably be the best thing to do.
Okay, start here. Click on that.
Okay.
Life, new life now. Work to print and use. Is that what you want me to hit?
That's
click
it.
on?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to click on there. Here are 2 new videos. Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness app instructions.
Scroll down past that. Scroll on down and go past the poster, and then the third link down. One of them says, "Why is this happening to me again?" Chapter 24. The next one says PowerPoint, and then the third one says Stress Reality Management Wake Up Sheets.
Okay.
Click that.
There
The
now.
plus sign.
Okay.
And then it says Stress Reality Management Wake Up Sheets underneath it in bold letters. Click it.
Yeah, the first paragraph below that plus sign.
Wake up sheets, free to use. Reality, stress management through forgiveness. Various wake up sheets on this page.
Okay,
Right,
that's it.
click
Various.
on where it says
That's
various.
The bold
Pardon me?
type, stress/reality.
Just past the word various, click on the word stress.
No, I'm looking for that.
You just read it. It said various stress reality management wake up sheets.
It's in bold blue letters. Right under the plus sign. Where you hit plus, it turns to a minus. And then when you've hit that plus sign, the first paragraph says various stress reality management wake up sheets.
Okay. Stress, many versions, that one. It's that plus sign. Okay, boom, there's the plus sign. Then it says various stress reality management wake up sheets. You'll find current
That's
step
it.
worksheet.
The bold blue right there that you just read. That's it.
It's
Click on that.
Okay. Wake up sheets, free to use. Okay. Okay, there's a lot of writing here.
Okay, now just scroll down just a little bit. The very first dot says wake up sheet 7 step.
Yep.
Click it,
that.
Okay.
and that will pop up the worksheet.
Wake up sheets. Okay, yeah. There's the old worksheet. Mm-hmm. May 22 PDF format.
Right.
That's
and so
it.
you can just scroll down and read it online, or you can print it off. But for right now, let's just read it online.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a print. Is there some way to use that other form where I just use it? I can just print. I can just write it in online.
Yeah. Not until I get it fixed.
Okay.
Now you can use your
right.
app on your phone.
I don't use my phone for that. I don't have much of a phone.
Okay. Well, let's just walk through it, and we'll fill it in mentally.
Okay.
Because there's a computer glitch with the online worksheet, so we're going to have to get that repaired to get that fixed. Or I don't know what the problem is.
Okay. Well, I can always come back another day too. So.
Okay.
This
Well,
might take more than an hour. So.
No, it's going to take a while. I've got to get a hold of the people in India, and they're like 12 hours ahead of us. So we're probably talking a couple of days getting that glitch fixed. Yeah. So let's do it on this, just looking at this one.
My guess, Jeannie, is we'll be doing this work for a while.
We will. But let's go to number 3 on that sheet.
Okay.
So number 3, my desire.
The exact goal that drives my pained perception is that.
1C, and your answer there was life. So if so, when we worked yesterday, you identified that it was life that was the object of attention, and we had quite a bit of conversation in a complex of energetic emotions and such that we touched into. But if you were to think in terms of yesterday, the situation that you were working toward was about life. If you were to say to life right now, so here's John with these challenges going on in his body, if you were to say to life, what I want from you in this whole circumstance is, what would that be?
I'd like to feel good and I like to feel good and be able to walk and function normally.
Okay. So that would be the goal, is feeling good and be healthy. So life, I would like to be healthy. That's with you as my object of attention, the constructive result. And the one of the important things about this forgiveness process is that this step is always about what I really want from the situation. And oftentimes people will look at what they don't want. Like their answer would be, in the context of being ill, their answer would be, well, I just don't want to be ill anymore. But the forgiveness process won't work with the ego's game of what it doesn't want. It will only work with the level of awareness of being that can speak of what it does want. So just so that, for anybody that's listening, when we put the word constructive in there, it's like, what is it that I'm really looking for here? If the word not or don't appears in it, then that's not going to function. That's not going to work well with the worksheet process. So you're right on track with. So I just want to feel good. Feel good. Want my balance back.
Be able to function normally.
Okay.
Be able to walk strongly.
Right. Walk with good balance.
Huh? Yeah.
Okay. So you're really clear, and you want to make sure that as you think about that you're breathing.
Yes.
Yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
And then number 4, what we're going to do is we're going to work toward establishing your awareness in the presence of love. So number 4, I choose love, my essence, which stirs the love in everyone involved. And, whatever it is that you find most helpful for you, John, to connect with love is what you want to do with this step in the worksheet. You'll see at the end of the sentence it says the rose and the butterfly story, and I always tell the story here about, imagine that we give a rose and a butterfly an ego. They meet, they fall in love, and have this wonderful time together, and one day the butterfly up and flies away. The rose, knowing that the love of the butterfly is the most important thing in its life, uproots itself to give chase. What's going to happen to the rose?
I lost you in there somewhere. Sorry.
Okay. So imagine we've got a rose and a butterfly. We give them each an ego. They meet and fall in love.
Okay.
And one day the butterfly flies away. The rose, knowing that the love of the butterfly is the most important thing in its life, uproots itself to chase the butterfly. What's going to happen to the rose?
Rose is going to die.
It's going to die. Why is it going to die? Because it made something more important than being connected to its source.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if we recognize that our true nature, if you go back to that moment where you first held that precious daughter you have, the first time you saw her face and held her and tapped into her essence, it clearly is the presence of love. It's what we all start out as. And then we come into a world that specializes in teaching us that all kinds of things are more important than staying connected to our true nature, which is love. And when we uproot from that, and we uproot by going with hostility and fear and rage and guilt and all the dramas and traumas of the world, we literally, like the rose, uproot ourselves from the very thing that keeps us alive, that is our life.
Yeah.
And so the objective here is to maintain awareness of the breath and to breathe deeply. And as you do, tap into that core essence of love. Now, what I use to do that, when my daughter was born, I actually caught her at home. She was birthed at home. And as she was delivering, she opened her eyes and looked me right square in the eye, totally focused. They say a baby can't focus their eyes. Well, I know from experience that's not true, because my daughter just totally focused her eyes in on mine and grinned at me. I mean, literally smiled. And she literally put me into such an altered state of being that I could not even think a thought. I was in such a connected space of love. That's what I use for reconnecting to love.
Yeah.
What if you focus on something?
I had a picture of Tamsin that I use. In fact, it's right up on the wall.
Sweet.
Right? One of them.
Nice. So at this stage, you want to tap into that space of love, because, and I'll go back to 30-some years ago at Heartland. I was doing intensive, and we had one person who had a really major trauma going on, and made a shift that was just, what you would call miraculous, something that everybody would be observing would say, that's just not possible, and bang, it happened. And I'm sitting there, I'm facilitating this, and I'm asking the question, what's at the root of healing? What causes healing to happen? I don't understand. There are 50 people in the room. 49 other people didn't get healing, but this person went through a monumental shift. And what I was shown was that in order to heal, two things have to occur. One, love needs to be active and present in the mind of the individual that needs the healing. Either themselves as love present in their minds, or someone else in the space holding to that presence of love. That's the first thing that has to happen. And the second thing is, whatever's at the root of the disease, the energy that's creating the disease, has to surface directly to awareness, or the energy behind that experience. And when those two things meet, it is the active presence of love in us, not, the world's definition of love is sexual athletics, I love you, or, I put my head on the chopping block and sacrifice myself and that proves I love. Not that, but that the real, true presence of human life has to be there, active, while what is of a disease nature surfaces.
I think of it in terms of opening the heart chakra and having that heart energy go through my entire body.
Yes, perfect. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's where you want to go in step 4. Okay. I choose love, my essence.
Okay, good. Yeah.
All right, so connected. 5A and B are the core forgiveness steps from the Aramaic. And basically what I did, so that each time somebody does a worksheet, they have a total reminder of the key principles. I basically do a review of in step 5 of the first half of the Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop. And so if we want to read along, when upset, my perception is built out of corrupt data driven by the goal that I had in number 3. In this case, it would be to be able to walk solidly and be healthy. It is a limiting picture constructed from a max of 9 bits of data out of 10,000 brain cells firing. By canceling my goal, my replicate mind, and that, we talked yesterday about carbon-based memory and the replicate mind, that all the mind can do with its content, or what we call the mind, and it really isn't a mind, But all it can do is just spit out whatever's in it, the good, the bad, or the ugly. So by canceling the goal, my replicant mind's reality collapses and gives me direct contact with the denied and dissociated parts of my carbon-based memory. Remember, we talked about this body. If we were to break down its elements, we would say its primary element is carbon, and that's where memory is stored. So that my denied and dissociated parts of carbon-based memory, which projects and blames others for its content. So here's the action step now. While holding love conscious, having that heart chakra open, active and present, I now choose to collapse my mind's lies by willingly canceling my goal for number 1C, life, to give me healing and support me in being able to walk strongly. Now, for most people, when they hear that, it's like,
I cancel those goals.
Correct.
I stay in my heart chakra. I cancel those goals about being healthy and walking strongly.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which most people would say, wait a minute, Michael, that's exactly backward. I mean, I deserve those things. And I say, yes, I agree with you. You deserve those things. But here's where the power of this genius mind of Yeshua, to me, is just so brilliant, that he teaches to cancel the goal that you're holding at any given moment the way you want it to be, because that goal is what drives the perceptual constructs based in pain, based in rage or fear or diseases of any kind. So you'll remember the Harvard research we talked about that says that in a time frame where 10,000 brain cells are firing, the maximum of data that goes into conscious awareness is 9 bits, just a little tiny piece of it. And of course, if 10,000 brain cells are firing and our perception is made up of only 9 bits, something has to select which 9 bits. Determines which 9 bits of data your mind uses to build your perception at any moment is your goals. That's what drives the process. So if I've got a perceptual construct, if I'm just filled with rage and vengeance or whatever, and I look at the goal that I hold, you'll notice, unless somebody's just a generally miserable person, you'll notice that if everybody in your life is following and fulfilling all the goals you have for them, you're a pretty happy camper. You're good with everybody. You'll notice the only time you're ever upset with anybody, again, unless you're just a generally miserable person, the only time you're ever upset with somebody is when they're not completing the goals you have for them, or upset with yourself when you're not fulfilling the goal you have with yourself, right?
Yeah.
So this
when I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at where I default to. I'm looking at that I don't have those goals, that I'm in pain and not walking healthily, and that's the focus that I go to. So it would make sense to cancel that goal.
Right. So as I cancel the goal, the focus collapses, the construct collapses.
Yeah.
And when it collapses, it collapses in its own disintegrative energy. It's like it's a way to expose the unconscious data. Carl Jung says, we do not become enlightened by imagining images of light. We become enlightened by bringing our own darkness to the light.
Yeah.
So when I cancel the goal, and I use a visual, it's not a very nice one, but it's one that is pretty much universal now, and that is everybody's aware of or probably remembers, because we saw it hundreds of times, the 9/11 towers collapsing in on their own footprint.
Yeah.
When I cancel a goal, my perception collapses in just like those towers on its own footprint. And now I've got access to the underlying pained content that I've been hiding from myself probably my whole life, that my power person hid from him or herself, that his or her power person hid from themselves, and them, these are where these generational patterns become reinforced until they become so powerfully embodied that they literally destroy our bodies. They literally destroy physiology. And so when I cancel the goal and that collapses, I now have direct access to what underlies my dis-ease, my pain, or my trauma.
Yeah.
So that's where you cancel that goal. And what you would do is you would take, if we were writing it out at this moment, which we're not, you'd take your answer, to be well, to walk solidly, to be healthy, and you'd bring it down to number 5 and cancel my need to be healthy, to be well, and to walk solidly. And of course, breathe. And then number 5B, this is the second piece of it. Now, kind of not exactly literally, but sort of literally, if you look at that Harvard research, so 10,000 brain cells are firing, and my conscious awareness is made of 9 bits of data. So I kind of metaphorically, not meaning it absolutely literally, talk about that as we have a 9-bit mind, in computer language, pretty small processing capacity. And if I think of, this is an issue, I can look at, we started, the thing that motivated you wanting to do this worksheet you shared with me was that rage that was up for you. If I think of that rage, and then I think about my power person's rage, and maybe his power or her power person, and hers and his, and all the way, how long has that rage been going on in my bloodline? For most of us, quite a while. And is it logical or sensible that with a 9-bit processor, I can handle all that information, all that data, all of that energy? And it's like, probably never going to happen. Never going to happen. Just there's so much, when you realize these are generational patterns, there's so much that's held that there's no way I could figure it out or process it in my head or in my 9-bit processor. And 2,000 years ago, Yeshua understood that, and he taught that inside of us there was, in the context of computer language, there was a super processor. In Aramaic, the words are reconnecting. The words have been translated by the Greeks as the Holy Spirit, but it's nothing about a disembodied spirit being. When Yeshua spoke of reconnecting, he was saying to each person, inside of you, there is a feminine, in Aramaic, the word is gendered feminine. There's a feminine elemental force in you that, if you invite it into activity, will undo the effects of your errors and teach you the truth. That's what the words Holy Spirit translate. So once you cancel the goal, then 5B is about inviting that power into activity. Now, we leave a blank there, 5B, I invite. I usually, and we have the Aramaic words, reconnecting. They're the words that have been translated as the Holy Spirit. I leave that blank, like for instance in the AA program, it's the higher power. Some people have called it the superconscious, the subconscious, the primordial X. I don't think it cares what we call it. I usually just put in that blank Ruka when I'm doing a worksheet. I short form it, asking that power that's in me to take this over and process me through what I have no clue how to do on my own. So 5B, I invite higher power, Ruka, whatever term you use, Holy Spirit. And there's several things we suggest that one asks for at this point, and that is to incline me toward healing. Most people never touch the mainspring of their own behavior. And so if the generational pattern is, the first thing we turn to when somebody's not fulfilling a goal, when somebody's, our frustration is up, if the first thing we turn to is our rage, what we're saying to love is, I really don't trust you for a damn. what I trust is my rage. And that's what most people turn to. So this first request is, I'm asking this power in me to literally teach me and incline me toward healing, and to restore me to that, my newborn essence. You started out, John, the same way as your daughter. When you look at that picture, you're of the same essence of love. Now, maybe and probably your power person didn't teach you that, gave you some different messages. And so so I'm asking to be restored to the truth of who I am, my newborn essence. I'm asking that power to help me to heal my own denial, the pretense that what's going on inside of me comes from the outside, and the capacity, I'm asking to have healed the capacity to generate the emotion in number 1B. So going back, I think that was rage when we filled that out. So I'm asking this power literally to heal in me the inclination toward rage, or whatever the emotion is of the particular worksheet we're doing at the moment. And then to help me to open a direct conscious relationship with and gently remove the denied, dissociated, and projected parts of my carbon-based memory. So I'm asking several things of this elemental force that Yeshua speaks about to assist me in. And in essence, what I want to do at this point is just breathe and surrender into that. It's like, I don't know how to figure out why rage comes up in me, and I trust it the way that, my power person trusted his or her rage, and the way that I don't know how to undo that. But there is a power in you that does. And this is a request asking that power to support you in it. So how about just going through and reading 5B?
Are you able to look at Facebook right now?
I can.
I've got a note to you where you are the only person who can see it besides me, and I'm wondering if you can see this what I've written.
Are you saying in Messenger?
No, not in Messenger, in the regular timeline.
Oh,
I can
just
put
in
it in
Facebook.
Messenger.
Okay. Oh, just a second. Let me get there. Posted it under your name. Just a second. It's not showing up. But let me just do a search.
I got J.M. Ryce there.
I'm just going to your page. Just a second here.
Yeah, I'll just put over here.
Okay, yeah, if you can put it in Messenger, because it's not showing up on my page.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, seeing the first post I'm seeing is one you did today at 9:30. There you go.
Take a look in Messenger.
Right on track.
Last sentence. Asking divine love to incline me towards healing, and one more thing you said after that.
It's to incline me toward healing, heal my denial, restore me to love. Yeah, heal my denial, restore me to love. This is all written in number 5B.
Okay.
Heal my denial.
I don't. Okay.
Heal my capacity to generate the emotion of rage.
Heal my capacity. That's what it was.
Yeah.
To generate the emotion of rage.
My emotion of rage. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And help me open direct contact.
Do what?
Yeah, it's like, how would life be if no matter what happened in your world, your physiology couldn't generate rage if you wanted to? You know what that would do, John? That would take all of the pressure off of your dura and the cerebral spinal system and let it expand. And I just offer that that's probably the core of what needs to happen for this pressure to go down and your physiology to change. If you just had, like, no matter what happened, no matter how badly things were going, if John Constantine could not produce rage, in his physiology, everything would change.
Very good.
So that's what you're asking Ruka. That's what you're asking Ruka for here. Yes.
Good.
And then
nothing to it.
Yep. And then I'm asking to help with opening a direct conscious relationship and gently remove the parts of me I've hidden from myself. So whatever's at the root of this, and what usually comes up at this point is something involving a power person who modeled the behavior based in the rage that I want to heal, and how I was the recipient of that rage. And when I can, and for most people, that's so painful they can't even fathom going there. And that's why there's that earlier set of instructions in the worksheet that says, yeah, I'm willing to face this. I'm willing to go through the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of healing. And what we carry around inside of us that literally... Go ahead.
Okay, the last thing you can see in the messenger what I've typed. How would it be in my world if I could not generate rage, even if I wanted to? And then you had one or two steps after that, which I kind of got lost on.
Okay.
You see it?
Yep. I've got it. Heal my denial, heal my capacity to generate the emotion of rage. How would it be?
Okay. All right.
And then I'm asking to be empowered to be able to stay connected to this space of love and embrace the experience that brought rage for me into this energy system I call my body-mind unit, a device that's designed for love. Where did this rage come from? How did I ever develop this? Well, it's pretty easy.
I'm having trouble grabbing onto this part. And then ask to be empowered, connected to this experience, and what?
To be able to embrace the experience that taught me, in this case, to be able to embrace this experience that taught me rage. I'm asking Ruka to assist me in being able to embrace this, to access it, to become aware of it, and let it move in me.
Okay.
And that might be, the experience, and I have no idea of your family history, so this is just, I'm pulling this out of the air. That might be the experience of a kid of 2 who, when Dad came home late from work one day.
My father was a rageaholic.
So that might be the memory that comes. And it isn't necessary that an actual direct memory comes, but oftentimes it will just process as an energy. Like sometimes people will feel energy in different parts of their body, and they'll go, wow, that's rage. Phew. And I want to keep breathing, and I want to stay connected to that active presence of love, because that's what dissolves it. That's the rose and the butterfly story.
Uh-huh.
Make sense?
Yes, uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. Then once you've done that, then in 6A, and we're down to just a minute or so, so maybe we can complete this. 6A, how do you feel? So as you cancel that and ask that power to go to work, where you go with feeling? How are you feeling when you do that?
I'm feeling peaceful.
Cancel my need to be peaceful. Okay. So then 6A would be peace. And then 6B, if you look at the whole situation around this disease process that your physiology is going through, how does that look to you now? If you just let yourself be with that, what goes on in your mind when you think about that?
I'm trying to get back to where you are. I was over in Messenger typing. Okay. I now feel
peaceful,
empowered.
Okay, empowered. Awesome. So instead of helpless, hopeless rage, I'm going to be in this for life, there's a sense of empowerment.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shift that we're looking for with the forgiveness process. And then just quickly, the third step in 6 is I ask to be shown a time when I have not fulfilled the goal. And that one really isn't so applicable here, doing a worksheet like this. But the last, the 7th step, principle of the universe is that by giving, I first get the original. And I step into gratitude for this awareness and this opportunity to heal. I choose truth and perfect love. And now, based on number 3, this whole situation you've gone through, what would be a loving goal? If you were to set a goal in your mind that every time I think about life, instead of being angry, rageful, why is it doing this to me, what goal could you set for life itself that would be based in love? And that would be the final step of the worksheet.
That would go to my heart chakra and breathe every time.
There you go. That's the completion of your first worksheet, my friend. That's first century Aramaic forgiveness. That's how it works. Awesome piece of work, John.
Very nice. Thank you, Michael. Dr.
I'm
Michael,
honored
thank you.
and delighted. I am honored and delighted that you were ready to do this and that you trusted us enough. You've shared some pretty intimate stuff, and it's very powerful, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Senor. I love you. Appreciate you.
All right. Lots of love and blessings. And the show's going to cut us off any second. So we'll just say, everybody, thanks for joining us. Have the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. Blessings.